What am I going to talk about today? I'm going to talk about an introduction to using X-ray searching for finding candidates and for recruiting candidates. So to start off with, I'm just going to talk about why you would use X-ray searching, what's the logic behind it, why would you use it as opposed to using the inbuilt search facilities within the websites. Second thing I'll talk about is some the logic that you would use, you know, the ands, the ors, the nots, and that type of thing, and how they potentially differ from what you would use on LinkedIn or what you would use on Facebook or Google Plus. And then the third thing I'll cover off is some real life examples of how you actually might use them, and we'll run some searches against a couple of different sites. Now, it is being recorded, the webinar, so you don't have to take any notes. My colleague Annie will send you out a link to the recording so that you can run through it at your own pace. It'll probably take about 25 minutes today to cover off everything, but as you will be able to take a look at it separately. You should get that email out either today or tomorrow. So to start off with, what is X-ray searching? Well, X-ray searching is about using the information that's actually indexed by search engines, whether that's Google, whether that's Bing, whether that's any other search engine you use at the moment, and running very, you know, that sometimes complicated, sometimes not, running a different type of search against the pages that are indexed by the search engines to find the information that you're looking for. Now, sometimes it could be using a search or searching for information you could normally find by using the inbuilt search tools, but you might find it easier, or it might produce you with it might display better results or show you different results. It might be because there's information that's not available through just normally browsing the website, so it could be that there's pages that are actually hidden behind the normal navigation of the website, so the normal user interface. So they're the kind of two main reasons. Or you might just prefer it. You might prefer seeing your search results in Google as opposed to seeing them within the search interface that's been displayed by the website. And you might prefer to extract the information from Google as opposed to there. So there's a couple of different reasons. I believe in all three of those reasons. I think my own personal preference is always to run an X-ray search if I can, because it does give me lots and lots of different information. It gives me a lot of flexibility around the types of searches that I'm actually running. So Google is my browser of choice. I am logged into Google at the moment, as you can see. There's a couple of reasons why I prefer Google. It allows me a bit of flexibility when I'm displaying search results. So instead of displaying just 10 results per page, I can actually change the settings on Google. If you go into your settings to 100 results per page, I do generally find that the results are better, but that's completely subjective. You know, you will have some of my peers, some of my colleagues will prefer using Bing because they think it's better results, but that's completely subjective. And I just think the general navigation, the general interface is better, and I do think it's a lot quicker. In terms of a guide for the different operators, I will run through some of the basic operators that you can use when you're running an X-ray search. But there is a really, really good resource that is a little bit out of date, if I'm being honest. But you can use it if you go to googleguide.com. Then googleguide.com has got a lot of different information about the different operators that can be used within Google. You see there's a couple of cheat sheets here, so certainly get that page bookmarked, and it's a quick and an easy resource for you to get back to if you're ever looking for somewhere to fall back on. It is a little out of date. There are some things that are no longer relevant in it, but you know, it's a good starter for 10, a good place to pick up from. So why do we use X-ray search? Well, as I said, it can be quicker and a bit easier to search, but I'm going to use the first example I'm actually going to use is LinkedIn. Now, if I go into my LinkedIn profile and take a look at it, my profile is a public LinkedIn profile. Okay, anyone can see it. It's got a public URL. I'll just highlight that there. it's a URL that starts from in, begins with uk.linkedin/in. Sometimes you'll see them in their linkedin.com/pub. Any page on LinkedIn that's got that information against it has actually been indexed by Google. Now, LinkedIn will tell you otherwise. LinkedIn will tell you that sometimes that when you come across a profile page on LinkedIn, that you might not be able to see that profile page because you're not within that person's network, or you don't have a premium membership. You don't have a paid membership. That's not true. Actually, the majority of profiles on LinkedIn are public. The majority of profiles on LinkedIn are indexed by the search engines. Hence, you can actually find that information. Okay, it's really, really easy to find that, and I'll show you an example of that in a moment. What it means is, though, is that actually I don't even need to be a member of LinkedIn to be able to run a search against LinkedIn. Yes, you're going to get the pretty profiles. You're going to be able to see more information. You're going to be able to see the rich media. For example, I've got all my posts, my links to my blog posts here with the images. You're going to be able to see all that when you're logged in. But technically, you don't need any account to be able to run a search on LinkedIn. How would I actually run a search on LinkedIn? Okay, well, what I'll do is I'll talk through some of the basic operators first of all. The first one, I'm just going to type these into the screen. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. Hopefully it's not enlarging my toolbar, but you'll still be able to see it anyway. Well, the first one that's really important is the site operator. Okay, the site operator is SITE and then a colon. What does the site operator do? Well, the site operator, it tells Google that you actually only want to search specifically against a specific website. So, for example, you could do site and you could do it against www.bbc.co.uk. Sorry, I've just had a message from someone saying that they've got no sound. Bear with me a moment. Is anyone else having any problems with sound at all? If you can hear me, could someone just drop me a message saying that they can hear me talking? That's great, guys. Thank you very much indeed for confirming that. So, yeah, it looks like one of the guys was just having a problem with his laptop, so that's no problem at all. I'll continue. So I could do a site search against LinkedIn, or I could do a site search against the BBC website, or I could do a search, what I was doing last night, you can see there, against the next.co.uk website, because I was looking for a blackout blind. And I just wanted to very quickly find information on the next website about blackout blinds rather than actually going into the next interface and running a search within there. And it's just now the habit that I'm into, I can do that. So I could do a site, www.next, in fact it's already there, next.co.uk blackout blind, click there, and it's going to run that search. And and you can see here what it's doing is bringing up all the information about the next website and about any pages that are contained within the next website that will get stuff related to blackout blinds. I could do it for the BBC, so say if I wanted to find any information on the BBC website, say about David Cameron, I can type in site, www.bbc.co.uk, and then I could type in David Cameron, do that, and it's just going to bring up every page on the BBC website that contains information about David Cameron. This is another reason why I do prefer using Google, because I could then filter that down a little bit further. So, for example, I can click on search tools. If I just wanted to see any results within the past month about David Cameron, then I can do that, and that reduces the number of results down. I can just change that option. If it was the past 24 hours, there's obviously been a lot going on this week with regards to the Scottish referendum, then I could do that, change it to the past 24 hours, and you'll find that most of the information bringing up is now about the independence referendum, or about all the Home Rule discussions that are going about just now as well. So that's a couple of basic examples. If I wanted to now use that against the LinkedIn website, then I can do that. I can do site. I'm going to use, maybe I just want to bring back UK profiles. So I'm just going to search LinkedIn, the UK site. So I'm just going to do site:/uk.linkedin.com. I only want to find profile pages One of the challenges around X-ray searches though is that when you run a search, it might bring up a lot of false positives, i.e. pages that you don't want to see. So in this search, I want to just tell Google that I only want to bring back pages that are profile pages. And to do that, I'm just going to tell Google, I only want to bring back pages that in the URL have either got pub contained within them, or I've got an URL in. So that I've got in and pub, as I said, those are both terms that are contained within public profiles, and I'll just highlight that there just to show you. I've said in URL : pub, or in URL : in. So on Google, for or, instead of typing or in capital letters like you would do in LinkedIn, on Google you can use that vertical line instead. I think I know the or is still recognised, but it does allow you just to build cleaner searches and searches that are a little bit tidier, rather than having words slap bang in the middle of your searches. The other thing I want to do here though is I also want to do a minus. I want to do a not search. So I want to say I want those pages. I don't want any pages that contain the word dir, because that's one of the pages that LinkedIn uses as a directory page. So if I run a search without putting less in URL, minus in URL, : dir, then it's going to bring me back pages that are not relevant to my search. By prefixing any search that I do, any X-ray search that I do on LinkedIn, with this search that I've just ran, it will only now bring me back profile pages. It won't actually bring me back any other type of pages. Okay, so if I want to search that and say I want to find people who are management accountant, then I can put in that as the job title, management accountant, and say I need them to have SEMA on their profile. I could type that. I've put management accountant as a full phrase, so that's why I've put it into the speech marks. It will not pick up any profiles that don't have that phrase specifically on there, and it will not pick up any profiles that don't have SEMA contained within it as well. If I then hit search, just give it a minute to run. Oh, hang on. I've typed here. I've done something wrong. Let's see. Oh, sorry, it's because I've put in the past 24 hours. I've forgotten to change my my search thing. Sorry, bear with me a second. Okay, and what you can see here is I've now got a list. It's brought me back, telling me there's 16,300 results. Now, Google will only display a maximum of 500 results. Okay, so you're never going to be able to see all 16,000 of those results, unfortunately. But what you can see here is I've got profile pages, and they are all profile pages alongside the URL. Okay, with the person that I can now take a look at that match that criteria. Now, sometimes if you've only got a free LinkedIn membership, that doesn't stop you from viewing the full profile pages. What I'd recommend that you do is, if you are having problems, if I were to click into Adrian Barrett, this top result, for example, and say it said I can't view this person's profile because I'm not within their network or because I've not got a premium profile, I could actually right-click, as long as I'm using Chrome, and I do recommend that you use Chrome as your browser of choice for this type of thing. If you right-click and then click Open an Incognito window, then that will take you immediately into the public-facing page for that person. Okay, so I'm not signed into LinkedIn. I don't have, I'm potentially not within this chap's network. But I can go on and I can see pretty much most of the information that's displayed within his profile. I can see all his skills, I can see his work history, I can see his education, his qualifications, I can see all that. So that just proves my point. I don't need to have a LinkedIn membership to be able to see this information. By using a simple X-ray search, and that is a very simple search, I could then start to nail that down a little bit with location and that type of thing. By doing it very simply, I can very quickly get round the LinkedIn search engine and arguably search in a quicker and more accurate manner. I also love this type of search because it means I can then use a data tool such as I could use Outwit, or I could use something like Comonify to then extract this information from the Google search into a spreadsheet very easily and very, very quickly. I am going to run a separate webinar on using the data extraction tools. Okay, so don't worry too much about that at the moment. I am going to try and do one of those over the next week or two. So that's first of all, that's a really basic X-ray search against LinkedIn. What else can I do with an X-ray search? Well, I mean, the most powerful operator that you are going to use here is the site search. It's really, really powerful, and it means you can pretty much interrogate any website. So, say I wanted to run a search against I don't know, say it was the Recruiter, the Recruiter website. So I could do a search against recruiter.co.uk. I could then say I wanted to find information about managing directors within the Recruiter page. And I could do that. I can hit return. Okay. Then what it's doing is, because I know that's a trade press, it's a trade paper, it's all about the recruitment industry, then it's actually going to bring me back information about people who are called managing directors against recruitment agencies or businesses that are recruited to, related to recruitment. So I've got Exurgo, I've got information about AppsCo, I've got information about IQ Navigator, an RPO provider, GRS, and exec. So it's all matching up very well. So you could do, head of, I don't know, let's say head of resourcing. Okay, again, it's going to do the exact same thing. Brings you back anybody who's matching head of resourcing. That's a really simple search. It's a really good way of getting very quickly to the information that you're looking for within the websites. So say I wanted to pull together, here's a great hint for you. If I wanted to pull together a list that were very similar to a website that I know has got a lot of information contained within it, then I can actually use that website to then give me recommendations about what other searches to use. So in this case, I could do, if I was using the Recruiter page as an example again, then I could do related recruiter.co.uk. And what you can see here is it's actually bringing me up 13 websites which Google, based on the information that Google is indexing about that page, are very, very similar to the recruitment, the Recruiter page. So I could pick Recruiter International, Recruitment International.co.uk. Take it from there. Okay, run site against that. Sorry, if we're putting any operators there. Oops. I could search, do managing director. Okay, and again, it's going to bring up loads of different results about people who are called managing directors. And what you find within the trade press is all news articles. So you're finding information about people who are quite recently, quite recently working as managing directors, quite recently quite recently joined movers and shakers and that type of information. So that's another use for it as well. A good way you could actually use that is if you know, for example, if you've got a competitor list, you've got a list of clients who you source people from, then when you do, you find a really, really good source of people, you could do a related search against that website, and it will bring up a list of sites that are suitable. So, for example, if I was just going to do a related search against the Michael Page website, just for talking sake, so related to michaelpage.co.uk, then it's going to bring up a list of major recruitment agencies, within the UK. So it's giving me lots and lots and lots of different information there. Okay, so that's about finding specific information about people. How else could you use an X-ray search? Well, think about the type of information that's actually contained within a web page. a lot of the information that's contained within a website you can't actually see through normal navigation. So if I go onto the website, then the menu will only give me certain options. It won't let me navigate to certain pages, and that's particularly the case with a lot of the bigger organisations and more complicated organisations. You know, the big consultancy firms, the big technology firms, insurers, financial services, that type of thing, where there's a lot of information that is contained within the website, but you will never find that. You could spend all month trying to find information by navigating through their website, and you're not going to find it. So we can use the X-ray search, we can use the site operator to actually work around that and just go straight to the information that you're looking for. So let's just say, for talking sake, I was an insurance recruiter, say that I wanted to run a search, say I was trying to find underwriters, then let's just say, for talking sake, let's just get a list of insurance, let's just get a list of underwriters first, actually. So if I get a list of UK underwriters, for example, then I could look at, let's just say, I've got a list of top 100 insurers here. Let's just take a look at that, see if that gives me any information. Give it a wee second. Sorry, my internet connection is a little bit slow at the moment. Nope, okay, it's not letting me log into that. Sorry, let me see that. I'm just going to go straight to the Lloyd's page, actually, and just see if there's any information it gives me. Okay, so say it was Hiscox. Hiscox is there. So let's just assume that the Hiscox site is www.hiscox.co.uk. Okay, and say I wanted to search that site for, I don't know, just say it was a casualty underwriter. Then I can type in site, www.hiscox.co.uk, and then I could search casualty underwriter. I'm sorry about that. I'll just do it again. Site, just my return key's a little bit faulty. www.hiscox.co.uk. Casualty. Just change that, so I've just made a slight typo there. Okay, and then hit return. Sorry. Try that again. Third time lucky. It's just not actually. There is a problem with my Chrome at the moment for some reason. Bear with me a moment. Just going to copy this so I don't have to type it again. Paste it in here. Okay, I'm really sorry. I seem to be having a real problem with my Google. Try that now. Okay, that's not brought up any results, but it's told me that. Okay, so it's saying it's not finding an exact search for that, but it is what it is doing, is it's bringing back results for that, like that. Without the exact phrase casualty underwriter. So that gives you a starter for 10. You can see here 3 senior hires for Hiscox in London. It's found information from the press room for there. And if I click into there, then hopefully that's given me 3 bits of information about, 3 names that I could then, that are leads that then lead me on to something else. It's not taking me straight into that page, unfortunately. Okay, so it looks like that's an archive page. Okay, but say I'll use this as an example. Say I then wanted to find out more information about Miriam Goddard. I could then change that search from there to there. See if it picks up any information about this person. Okay, and what I can see there, it's picked up another article about that person. I'm going to use, there is another example that I know works really, really well within that. If I search, sorry, I've completely forgotten the search. There is, bear with me a second, just to try and pull the link from here. A second. If I use, let's see. If I use, If I search the AIG website, for example, let's try that one. Okay, let's see if that works any differently for me. And oh, brilliant! Right, what that's actually done is that's actually given me. If I click here, it's actually giving me a schedule. It's actually giving me a shift rota for casualty underwriters within AIG. So that's the type of information that you can pull out. The only limit here with this type of search is your imagination. You know, it is, you know, what do you want to search for? What information do you think will be available? Email addresses, for example, are always available within a lot of websites. Telephone numbers are always, you know, a good one to do. So think about the format of telephone numbers. You know, if I wanted to then, I'll use the AIG example. If I wanted to search against the AIG website, say for a telephone number for someone, then I could, I don't know what I think it'll be 0208, say. Okay, so say I wanted to find a telephone number within the AIG website, then I could do site, aig.co.uk, 0207. Sorry, I'm having real problems here with my PC today. My sincere apologies. O207. I'm just going to copy and paste this just in case this search doesn't work again. Copy here. Not sure what's going on with my PC today. Okay, then what you can see here is it's actually went into the AIG website and it's pulling out telephone numbers, it's pulling out matches for people with the area code 0207 within there. So that's another example of the type of search you can do to pull out information. So I hope that's been useful. That's really, it is a very, very quick introduction to Boolean search, to X-ray searches. Sorry, you certainly use that Google Guide. Use googleguide.com. That's a really good resource for you. Use that as your starter for 10. As I said, this video is being recorded, so you'll be able to look back at a couple of examples that I've used to give you some inspiration. But play about with the different types of searches. Google Guide will give you all the operators that you need to use or that you can use. Please also, my blog and my Twitter page are full, lots and lots of information, lots of hints and tips related to this side of things. So please do, if you've not already, please reach out to me on LinkedIn, connect with me, drop me a note, or follow me on Twitter. And please, if you've got any questions at all in the future, please don't hesitate to get in touch with me.